Welcome to Pints of View. It is May the 15th, 2021. With England having to prepare itself because of the new Indian variant of COVID, we just have to be extra precautious in order to protect our nans. I wrote a joke for the topical show. Meanwhile, in more localized news, as in this area, I got vaccinated today for the first time. My shoulder is sore and I'm feeling a bit delirious. I feel like I've had 4 pints when in reality I've almost finished my 4th pint. So who knows what's going on? That's enough about me. I will be talking about my vaccination process in a little while, but let's introduce the guests. They are Bex Turner and Stefan Allen. Welcome, you beautiful people. Bex, how are you doing today?
I'm good, yes. Not too bad. How about you?
I'm well. As I said, had my vaccination. Have any of you had your vaccine yet?
Yes, Wales is doing exceptionally well. I had mine back in April.
Yeah, but Wales is like a quarter of the size of England, so yeah. How was your experience, Stefan?
I was completely fine. No side effects or anything, but I did. Although 2 days later I caught a cold. It was definitely a cold. It was all cold symptoms.
I do have tissues beside my bed for a different reason this night. So.
and this is what happens if you get any sort of illness shortly after the vaccine. It doesn't matter if it is objectively not the symptoms you would get from the vaccine. Everyone's like, oh, I was bad after the vaccine. And you're like, no, that's not what it is. You cannot. Everyone is so excited to take anything as a sign of a symptom. Like if you lost your hand in an industrial accident, people would be like, oh, I've heard that can happen on the AstraZeneca.
Yes, I'm on the Pfizer. I arrived in Grantham. I did it at the sports centre in Grantham, and I arrived, and my appointment time was 3:30, so I got there earlier at 3. The queue was huge, right? There was a vulnerable old woman in the queue in front of me, and she was going in for a second dose, and she's just the sweetest old woman. Kept dropping literally everything. I've never worked as hard in my life on a day off before. It was just me picking up her cane and her purse and then her little leaflet about COVID. I was like, everything okay? With the marshals looking at me weird because I got within her 2-meter space. It's like, I'm trying to help an old lady here. It's only 2 days before I can actually hug her legally. So give me this. As I got to the front, a woman marched from the back of the queue straight to the front and said, excuse me, my appointment's at 3:20. And it was about 3:35 by then. And the marshal was saying, that's fine, as long as you're here today. It's like, yes, but I thought I'd be in and then out again. It's like, well, no, the whole process takes 20 minutes and there's a lot of people we have to get through. And then she lost her place in the queue, so she had to go all the way to the back of it again. It was brilliant. As I went into the centre, it was like a giant gymnasium. You know, the old gyms that you had in school. You might have had assemblies in them. Just a huge gym, split into different aisles, like a bowling alley. So each aisle had a wall, and each aisle also had seats that people could sit down in. So as I entered the room, there was the first wall in front of me, and then walls behind that, in between people on seats, but I could only just see their heads. So as I walked in, I laughed because it looked like a table football set, like with the wall and just like the heads that I was expecting bars to come out of the things. It was weird. And the best sign in the whole thing was just before going in to get my vaccine. There was a sign that said, please have your arms prepared for vaccination. And I know what they meant. I know, like, take off any coats, make sure you've got something that can lift up. But reading that, like, please have your arms prepared. It's like, oh shit, I left my arm at home. It was extremely odd. Bina Marston in the comment had her first vaccination to get today, or she's saying that today is the first episode of Pints of You that they're watching. But either way, we're glad to have you on. Bex, have you had your vaccination?
Sadly not. I'm just a little bit too young.
Well, I'm 33. I didn't think I'd be seen in another couple of weeks, but I got a text yesterday saying, do you want to book it? And I went, yes. And I reread the text because those scam texts you get saying, there's a parcel ready for you, just pay a £2.50 delivery fee. It looked like one of them because they had a link as well for booking it.
Yeah.
And I was so thinking, like, if I click this link, it'll say book your test for £2.99, enter your card details. But no, it was very much legitimate. It was because it was a weird name as well that texted me. Like if you were pretending to be a surgery, you would call yourself GP surgery, all one word, wouldn't you? Like, as if it's a name like Gareth Peter Surgery. And yeah, it just looked weird. It just looked weird. But yeah,
are you sure the text wasn't from the Prince of Nairobi, who has like £1 million for you?
Yeah, and they will unfreeze the vaccine once they get to it. That was good. That was a good on the cuff remark. Right,
you got to share it. You got to pass the vaccine on to like 35 people. Otherwise, you will die.
You will die. Jake Easterling, new friend of mine in the chat. The vaccine gave my mate his voice back. Wow. So your mate couldn't speak and then got a vaccination. Are you mates with Lee Ridley? Is that how that works? Not entirely sure. Oh, wow. First vaccination at Grantham. You were in Grantham today. We might have crossed paths. Were you the woman shouting, I have an appointment at 3:20? What's going on? I really hope you haven't stalked me. Universal basic income is to be tested in Wales.
So excited.
So each adult, regardless of their means, would receive a regular sum of money under the scheme. So is this basically free money whether you're jobless or not? How much do you know about this, or shall I read on?
Well, read on. So I'm really into universal basic income just as a political concept. So I looked at the headline and thought I don't need to know anymore. But so my understanding is, basically, literally every single person, regardless of who you are, it's like benefits, but not tested. Just everyone gets it. Everywhere they've tried this in the world, it works. It reduces inequality and it improves the economy. Because if you're very wealthy, it doesn't discourage, it doesn't discourage anyone from getting work. That's what people think is, it'll discourage you from getting work. It doesn't. It actually encourages you to find work because it means you're less stressed about meeting your basic needs. You can get your shopping. You're not going to be homeless. Well, I say that depends what your rent is like and how much the universal basic income is. But at the very least, you've got a little bit coming in, so it takes the pressure off, and you can relax and do what you want. So it's great for things like the arts. It's great for everyone, basically.
First Minister Mark Drakeford said the pilot would see whether the promises that basic income holds are genuinely delivered in people's lives. But the Conservative said Wales should not become a petri dish for failed left-wing policies. What a fucking quote.
They are talking as if this has been tried everywhere. It's been tried. It has worked. It was tried in Canada and it worked. Failed Western. It implies that, because this is something that Conservatives say a lot about Wales, is because basically we've always had a Labour government in the Senedd, in the Assembly. Mm-hmm. The Senedd as it's called now. So you know what I mean? Like, there's always this idea of because our Senedd was created in the 90s by a Labour government, there was this idea that it was Labour's attempt to cling to power when England inevitably went Tory, which to a certain extent it was. But also, it's like people are very pro-Assembly. People have been thrilled with the way Wales has handled the pandemic and things. So that used to work as an argument that you'd go, that was something you heard a lot. Jeremy Corbyn's promising this, but if that's something Labour can do, why aren't they doing it in Wales? That's a reasonable thing to say. This is not. No one has tried this. Like, the Tories keep talking as if they're the underdog, as if they haven't been in power for 1 billion years in Westminster by this point.
Nice. Well, I was wondering why Elon Musk suddenly appeared. Apparently, Elon Musk tweeted his support of universal basic income last year. Is this waxwork of John Barrowman going to be giving out the money? Why have a massive picture of Elon Musk? Surely more prolific people have also talked about it. Trying in Finland.
I take the John Barrowman comparison, but it's like, and this is going to be a niche reference, if you took John Barrowman and transformed him into First Minister for Wales, Mark Drakeford, this would be the halfway point.
Okay, what in like one of those that face app that was popular for a week last year?
Yes, I remember that. I think that stole all our details and gave it to Russians in the end, didn't it? I think that was the plot.
Yeah. Bex, your opinions on universal income?
Firstly, I'd like to say the fact that Elon Musk, carrying on from your comments, I said that Elon Musk tweeted his support for universal basic income last year. That somehow sounds like he's supporting someone he knows. So it's like kind of like in support of universal basic income.
We've got some opinions on Elon Musk and universal income. Every family gets 0.001 Dogecoin. Very much. And Alexander, fuck Elon. He keeps wrecking my crypto stocks. I understood 40% of that.
Okay, at the top of this article, right at the top, if you go to the first photo,
yes, there.
That lady, like, she's not wearing her mask properly. So I don't think she really has any sound basic income, does she, that lady? Like,
I mean, her friend the Michelin Man knows how to work a mask, so
yeah,
that's pretty fine.
Do you know what the irony is? That her entire face is a mask. That actually is Elon Musk.
Ah.
Or it's a lady who's it's a lady disguised with Elon Musk, but it's not actually Elon Musk, it's John Barrowman.
Oh God!
So
And
Well, go.
That's why he's got the long scarf to cover the fact that his cock's out. Why not just look at striking news pictures from around the world? So I'm going to show you a picture. You're going to tell me what's going on, and we'll see if you're right. So, Bex, what's going on in this picture?
I'd say what's going on in this picture. I think that it's a family who have got into the news because they're cooking meth hidden in food.
Meth pigeon.
So meth Donald's. Da 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 da. I'm cooking it.
Okay, so at least it's a family business, so that's pretty nice to see in the economy nowadays. No, people eat by the light from a phone during a blackout caused by an outage at a power plant in Taiwan. So, oh yeah, we can see the phone at the back here with the light. That's pretty good. It's a nice aesthetic. But then again, the person taking the picture most likely took it on their phone, so they could have used it as another torch. And the room would have been lighter. That is just not productive at all.
Yeah,
Stefan.
what if the photographer dropped his phone in the toilet and it's actually in those rice bowls?
Yes. Oh, that's why the rice is there.
He couldn't use it, could he?
Of course. Of course. Stefan, this is your picture. What's going on here?
So this is the English Queen in her enormous wealthy house.
The English Queen.
I am Welsh, and therefore I am legally obligated to hate her and her family and everything that they stand for.
That is too much gold for one house.
It's too much gold.
It's one wall.
And here's the thing, right? She doesn't look like she's enjoying it. If she was having, I think I'd have a softer place in my heart for the treacherous English Queen if she entered that house going, gold, always believe in your gold. Have a bit of fun with it. Why is she wearing a hat? She doesn't wear a crown. That's the one thing I know about queens.
But the crown wouldn't match her dress.
Anyway, her 1,000-year-old
Katie Swaby has a good point. It's the Prince of actual Wales, though, there, surely. So the English Queen, but it's the Prince of Wales.
Interesting use of the word actual. He is the Prince of actual Wales, but the actual Prince of Wales, and this is going to sound made up now, but this is true. My family, we got our family tree done. My grandmother did. My grandmother can trace her ancestry back to the penultimate King of Wales. Not the final one, because he was murdered and his children were murdered.
You know that film, The Last King of Scotland? I think the penultimate King of Wales is a good sequel in the cinematic universe.
So what it means is, if we arbitrarily chose now to reinstate the Welsh royal family, I'm third in line for the throne.
Is that? I'll applaud it. That's. I could believe that. Wait, what's actually going on? Queen Elizabeth II. Oh, it was the Queen all along. Attended the state opening of Parliament, her first major public engagement since the death of her husband. Every news article keeps saying this. Anything the Queen does, it's her first whatever it is since the death of her husband. And I'm sick to death of hearing it. Like, how many more things is she going to do this year? There's going to be a Queen's Christmas speech, and it will be that they will advertise it as it's the first Queen's speech at Christmas since her husband died. It's the first time she's been to Balmoral since her husband died. And it's like, what?
I agree that is annoying, but what I would say is, look at the bright side. She might die.
Yes, but then it'll be King Charles. Oh, this is his first King's speech since his mum died. And the cycle will just continue forever.
What for, like, the Queen? Like, you're going the same vein of, like, her being, like, joined of, like, since her husband died. You could be like, what, I mean, how far are they going to go into her personal life? Are they going to post something in the news with something like, it's the Queen's first royal orgy since Prince Philip died?
Here's the thing.
They never televise the orgies, do they?
Yeah.
The thing I'm looking forward to about Charles being king, there's one thing I'm looking forward to, which is
that's the first time that sentence has been said.
Yeah, but think about it. Right? Queen Elizabeth has been queen since the 50s, and that means two things. One of which is, obviously, I don't like her, but I don't like any royals. But basically, most people, like, she's got quite a high approval rating. Most people who are tolerant of the monarchy generally like this specific queen. And she's been there for a really long time, which means she was there before colour television. She was certainly there before the advent of reality TV. So I think we haven't questioned what it's like when the handover happens. And this is what I'm excited about. I cannot wait until we have a king that basically everyone hates. Like, I think even monarchists don't like Charles, right? Isn't that going to be amazing if people are suddenly like, hang on. They'll suddenly realise they can't vote on it. We're just going to get a bunch of people pressing the red button going, why make him go?
Well, I mean, what's going to happen is, like, all the royals are going to die in a King Ralph style scenario. Prince Andrew will be king, and then that'll be the first king that you hate. Prince Andrew's first Pizza Express since Epstein died.
Frizz, I haven't done this show before, and you have the best viewers.
I do have the best viewers.
I know what I'd like to see, carrying on from your comments, Stefan, about the royals. For the royals, like, I just had this idea of, like, when, like, if they do get Prince Charles on, they should, like for free offer everyone in the, like, UK and Wales and Ireland and Scotland to have a VR headset which automatically like composes on the screen like the royal that people actually liked, which is Princess Diana. And so, like, when you're looking through the VR headset, you don't see Prince Charles, you just have a image of Princess Diana on the screen instead. So you're like,
augmented reality. So the next royal just wears a mask themselves, so you can watch it through their phone.
Like, oh, people's princess. Oh,
wow,
she's a people's princess.
What would the name of that app be? Let me know in the comments. We're looking for an augmented reality app where you make your own personalized head of state. So whenever they're doing a speech, you put your phone up and it's them talking. What's that app called? Let me know in the comments. Oh, here's some nice news. The Friends reunion premiere date and celebrity guests announced. Now, this was announced 4 years ago, that the cast of Friends were reuniting, not for an episode, but for a sit down and chat. I liked Friends. My sister loves Friends, still does. I've learned a lot of Friends through osmosis, just through it constantly being on in the background. But the details, the guests, right? The guests include David Beckham, Lady Gaga, BTS, Cara Delevingne, Mindy Kaling, James Corden, Malala Yousafzai, and Justin Bieber. Why? Why half of these people?
I mean, the weird BTS is a weird guest because Like Friends is so big. Almost nothing in the world is more popular and beloved in the Western world, anyway, than Friends. But BTS definitely is. BTS is huge. It's they are the most beloved pop band globally. So the idea of them guesting on Friends is so weird to me.
By the way, I need to state that now we've said BTS 3 times on this stream, it does mean they will appear.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Katie Swaby asks, wait, are they doing it as the character of themselves? It's themselves. It's just a big interview, I believe. There might be a scene that they're doing. Jake Easterling, I'm on it, I think. Jake Easterling is also part of the Friends reunion guests. Who isn't? Bex, did you used to watch Friends?
If I'm honest, I've never really liked Friends that much. Sorry, guys.
That's allowed. You say it like it's controversial. I mean,
well, it is because everyone's like, "Oh my god, we love Friends. They're so funny." Like, because like, oh my god, they're so toxic. Like, oh my god, yeah. And Monica's like a fat teenager. Isn't it funny how fat she was?
That is a fair point.
Also,
but also that's a
how
very
come James Corden is on it?
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Why is he on it? No one likes him. What are you doing, America?
Well, apparently, there is clearly some law that says James Corden has to be on everything.
Yeah, I think James Corden was watching an old episode of Friends and asked his agent, "Why aren't I on this show? Why aren't I on it?" And then went, "Fine, James, we'll get them back together." One thing I didn't like about Friends is how they made Joey a complete idiot by the end of it all. Like before, he was like, you know, a little sort of out there, like a little not completely not book smart or anything. By the 10th season, he thinks he's speaking French when he's actually going blah, 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 blah. I mean, that is a step down in character.
It's this thing. I was reading an article about this, about how any work of fiction that has the same characters in it for a long time, the characters will creep towards extremity. Now, the example they used was Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards.
I wasn't expecting this. Carry on, because I've heard of Flanderization, and that's what people call it. But I've never heard of Fantasticization.
So Mr. Fantastic in the very first Fantastic Four comics is just a normal scientist. He's not particularly brilliant. He's just a normal scientist. He goes up into space. He's an astronaut. That's fine. Whereas as the years go by, successive people write him, and just slowly but surely, because he's the main character, because they want to big up how great he is, he becomes increasingly clever, increasingly good at science, until if you watch any modern version of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards is the cleverest man in the world, this incredible scientist. He's invented all sorts of magnificent, impossible technology. And so the equivalent of that in Friends is that Ross Geller in episode 1 is a little bit whiny, and by the end is a full psychopath.
Whilst you were going through, like, Mr. Fantastic shouldn't be fantastic. That's his fucking name. He is Mr. Fantastic. Surely he's meant to be a great scientist.
Which he chose for himself. I mean, this is another point about the Fantastic Four, is they all chose their own names, and 3 of the 4 of them choose the names of monsters. One of them chooses to call himself the Thing. One of them is the Human Torch. The Invisible Woman even is like, the Invisible Man's a horror book. Only Reed Richards is like, Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, wow. Okay, so using that rule, what should Mr. Fantastic's name be if they name themselves after old horror characters?
Oh, that's good. I think he should be called Stretch, after the horrific X-Files Stretchy Elastic Man.
Oh, I thought you meant after the horrific Stretch Armstrong doll.
Oh, yes, that.
We've got a name for an app. It's CAC, apparently. Nice. I like that name for an app. Remember, we're trying to think of a name of an app where it's augmented reality. Whoever the head of state is, whoever the next king is, you can replace it on your phone with your ideal person. What is that called? I think Regler, but without the vowels. That's how people do apps nowadays.
I want to know who would people choose as their monarch in that case?
Next monarch, Jeremy Corbyn, says JP. 59.
He's not such a grumpy king.
John Lydon? Who's John Lydon?
He was only in the Sex Pistols.
Yes, he probably did an angry version of God Save the Queen, I'd wager.
Ed Edmondson with Michael Sheen is my rapid fire
Yes.
nomination. To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the Queen's life she pulled up the mask. It was Michael Sheen all along. He's a very good character actor. We've got Interceptor for the app. Interceptor.
That's really good.
Like a scepter.
That's really
well done, Katie Swavey. Generally, you want someone with a face. Yeah. Oh, there's more. That'd be magnificent oil stamps and money. Finally, we've got Bob Mortimer for king. Oh, I would. If only Taskmaster was to choose the next king, that'd be great. Reminders on Rise as WhatsApp update deadline looms. What?
Do you know this story?
I don't know this story.
So WhatsApp threatened a while ago that they were going to update their security settings, and not in a good way. So people have freaked out about it, and there's been sort of a mass, sort of a race to get rid of WhatsApp. And so loads of people are joining Signal instead, which is a sort of more privacy-heavy app. And I got a message today saying, basically, when people in your phone book join Signal, you get a little notification. So I was quite an early adopter, so I just get to see everyone else who's like, oh, they've heard about the WhatsApp thing now as well. So today, my mother and stepfather both
nice.
joined Signal, and that is a sign that word is getting out there.
So have WhatsApp actually announced that we're going to do evil stuff?
Yeah, well, they often do. You know, a lot of these companies do. Facebook aren't particularly secretive about how evilly they use their details. It's just no one really cares. Everyone's like, well, we're not going to leave Facebook. We really like using Candy Crush Saga through it. But WhatsApp, for some reason, is the exception where everyone's gone, no, we trusted you. Goodbye.
See, I mean, everyone remembers House Party, that app we had for 2 days last year. And that was the next big thing. And then
House Party must have been so excited at the start of the pandemic. They go, right, obviously on a personal level, this is really scary, but everyone's going to be at home using Zoom. What's Zoom?
Yeah. And not only that, they released like a reward, like $10,000 reward, if you could find any evidence of companies bad-mouthing House Party. And it was like, what? It's clearly Facebook who's starting these rumors, and it was so fucking weird. What a weird time!
Right.
What a weird time!
Facebook slagging off House Party, going around.
Well,
saying...
there were reports saying that House Party's not safe. It'll steal your data, and House Party was like, that never happened. What are you on about?
So that wasn't true.
Well, I mean, people stopped installing House Party, and I think they went bankrupt.
I really like how WhatsApp is like, it's definitely an anglicized company, because it literally sounds like it was owned by someone who like Geordie person, and just decided, oh no, I got enough idea, I'll call it WhatsApp.
Yeah. Amazon set to hire 10,000 UK workers. Pictured here is an Amazon worker with the box that she uses to piss in every hour and a half. US tech giant Amazon is going on a hiring spree in the UK as online shopping continues to boom in the pandemic. Bex, have you ordered anything from Amazon during the pandemic?
No.
What, cocaine? Is that what that meant?
No, I haven't ordered anything.
No, let us know. It'll move the conversation on. What have you ordered from Amazon, Bex?
What I haven't ordered.
Okay, what have you ordered from a local business?
Can I take a moment to say how much I enjoy that Frizz was clearly setting up a sort of, hey, take this subject and run with it. Very much inviting a kind of improvisational yes and Bex was like, no but.
I messed it up. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the cardinal sin of improv.
That's all right. You've got the improvisational skills of a trickster god, and you should own that.
Oh, hey, Frizz. You mentioned Amazon. Well, I did order something. Yes, and with my Amazon order, I bought a dinosaur.
Oh wow, you're going
did
the
you order,
complete other
Chris?
end with the improv. I love it.
What did you order? Let's mime it.
I
Wow, I feel like I'm a clown and I'm trained by Goliath. Look how clowny I am.
You're watching Pints of View. Stefan,
Gotta
have you
join
ordered
in,
that?
Chris. Whoa.
Raw. Stefan, what have you ordered from Amazon?
I have ordered stuff off Amazon. I try not to. I try and go directly to sort of smaller companies now, but it's hard, isn't it? It's a world full of horrible. I think once you know the guy who owns it, that's the problem with Amazon. As soon as we found out what Jeff Bezos was like, we were like, oh, no. That puts us off using companies way more than actual ethical concerns, I think. Like, I knew that there were ethical reasons to avoid Wetherspoons, but the thing that actually made me stop going to Wetherspoons was finding out what Tim from Wetherspoons is like.
Tim Wetherspoons, yeah, he's
Wetherspoons is I don't know if this is technically slanderous, but he's a prick, isn't he? Am I legally allowed to say that?
Yeah, I believe Tim Wetherspoons put out a $10,000 reward to see who was slagging him off. So I'm just going to upload this footage right onto the Wetherspoons Twitter. Well, that has been Pints of View. I'm absolutely knackered because I've been jabbed and this was a struggle. But thank you very much for sticking along. If you enjoyed the show, please do contribute to paypal.me/FrizzFrizzle. It's a big online tip jar. Any tips made get shared between the guests and the guests alone. If you're watching on Twitch, you can send me bits or subscribe or gift subscriptions. But one more time, my guests today were Bex Turner and Stefan Allen. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been one last comment from Jake Easterling. It's been a nice plague. That might be how I end these shows nowadays. It's been a nice plague. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Frizz Frizzle. I've had Bex Turner and Stefan Allen. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.